Hey y'all, if you don't know me, I'm Bianca Simone, and I'm going to give you guys a voiceover of me doing my sew-in. So I do use yarn. What I end up doing is I cut the yarn and then split it in half. The yarn will have 4 pieces when it all boils down. And then I just braid that just like it's regular braiding hair. So one thing about the yarn, it doesn't itch as bad, and it holds your braids way better than the synthetic braiding hair. Your braid is like placed. It's not just gonna slip. It's not gonna move. It just has so much more security, and it's able to be a lot flatter and thin with the yarn. Here I am parting out the section. I didn't leave out any edges on the bang side because, honey, they already thin because I had braids. So I said, let me just braid it all up and not braid it too tight so that I could put it away and have it all protected, not doing nothing to it so that it can somehow, some way grow back. Because, baby, me done snatched that braid out, and honey, that was just that. So here I am creating just the really anchor braid for the back and around the perimeter so that the sew-in has something really secure to hold on to. That's extremely important, creating that anchor braid, y'all. Make sure that your anchor braid is secure. Make sure that it is braided very taut, just not tight, but not moving. Now I'm going over to the other side, and we do that connecting pull-up method. But I don't pull up until I get a little bit further to the back so that you don't have any bulk on that side part because you want that side part to be as thin as possible. We just taking some more yarn, separating it, and putting the yarn in. I'm going to end up braiding this braid all the way down, and I'm not going to pull up because I'm still kind of on that side. I don't want to create any bulkiness on that side. So I'll end up doing a pull up after doing this braid. That's when I'll start pulling the braids up into the next braid. And it just makes it lay a lot flatter and doesn't give you all of that bulk. If you have a hard time braiding your own hair, you can always have someone who braid it. If you feel like you need to see, use a mirror. Use 2 mirrors, one in the front, one in the back. Me, I don't have to see because I feel like my hands are my eyes when I'm braiding my hair or when I'm doing anything to my hair, just because I've been doing my own hair for so long. Literally learned how to do hair because my mom did hair and she was doing my sew-ins, and I'm like, just braid it for me and I'll sew it in. She's like, girl, you're not gonna sew it in. And she braided it and I sewed it in, and then she was kind of playing me on braiding it, and I was like, all right, well, I'll figure out how to braid it too. I use hair from Glamour House of Hair. I had a 16, 18, and a 20-inch of the silk press texture, which is a really natural feeling texture. Like, it has coarseness to it. Really love this hair. Super bomb raw hair, guys. Now we're gonna start sewing. What I do is I tie a knot at the end of the thread and then put the whole thread into the weft. That's the only time that I actually put into the weft. Then I'll put the needle through the end of that loop and create a lock. I sew around my braid. I don't sew through the weft to make it tight. I just sew around my braid, around the track, and once I get to the end, and I don't cut the tracks either. So I'll do the flip over and make sure that that flip over is really, really tight and really flat, but not pulling too much so that you're pulling out your hair, and just keep it going. So now you guys are just going to see how I just sew, honey. I just be sewing. And what I do with that first track is I double it because I like volume on that first row. I like a lot of volume on that first row, especially when you're doing 3 different lengths. I don't want that bottom layer to be super thin, so I always double that bottom layer. Here I am. I'm going to end up bringing that hair up to the front because you want the hair to fall into the face. So I'm starting to curve those tracks up to the front. Now we have the fold over, and we start sewing and just making sure that that fold is really, really flat. Okay, again, always starting your first sewing with a loop through on the thread so that you're creating a lock. Just going back and forth, going straight, a little curve up, on the side, but on that bang side, you're curving up because you want that hair to fall into the face. That's how we're not having to have any leave out on that bang, because we're having the hair fall directly into our face, guys. That's a way of super protective style to not have to flat iron your edges all the time, because you're just keeping those edges covered up. So we're just going to keep going back and forth and steady going, keeping that curve up to have that hair fall into the front. And it kind of end up being like an invisible part, so to speak, but we're not cutting any tracks. We're not doing anything. We're just going back and forth. And when we flip over, we make it tight, right? So now this was the final. Once I finished sewing all the hair in, see that little gap over there, but I'm okay with that gap, right? If I would have been doing somebody else's hair, wouldn't have had a gap. I'm doing my own hair. Baby, that gap is okay with me, okay? We got the hair in there. What I'm going to end up doing next, baby, we're going to take that iron and we're going to flatten that top right on out. Ooh, honey, it's going to be flat as a whistle. And that's how you really, really, really get that flatness with your sew-in. I do this with my closures. I do it with leave out. And y'all, my little thin, whoo, child, pray for me. That's what I'm saying. I ended up putting a closure on, y'all, after like a week, because I was working out and I just couldn't take it with that leave out. But baby, that little leave out, ooh, them little edges just need some help, child. But my leave out is super long, y'all. I'm going to show you in a second. My leave out is so long. But anywho, take the scissors, cut a little bit of the front out. I mean, the hair was already at a layer because we had 16, 18, and 20. But just blending those layered lengths in to give it a full layer look just in the front a bit. And you guys will see the final layer look once I show you the whole thing. But not too deep of a layer, but just blending those tracks in. This is you being able to see all of the hair being put in. See how long that 20 inch is falling? It's falling really, really long and really, really cute. I actually love it. This is another view of, and excuse the dirty mirror, excuse the painter's tape because they were painting that bathroom. But I just wanted to catch, I was doing a sew-in. I'm like, oh, wait, let me get some footage for the girlies. See how long, that's my leave out, y'all. Y'all see how long the leave out is? The leave out is long as heck, okay? Like, that's my leave out on the side for the side part. You see how long it is? And it ended up being too much to deal with working out. So this is just me pressing out the leave out. And I did end up taking the little curler and curling the front of it just to lay those little edges down. It just makes it a little easier. I use my T3 curler. This is the 1.5, I believe. That's the 1.5 barrel. Use the T3 curler just to give it some loose curls. Go through and curl away from the face. Away from the face. That's what we do. We curl away from the face. Once we curl, we get it. Click, 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 click. And then we'll hold that curl to let it cool. And once it cools, you drop it down to give a cute little curl, right? I didn't hold it that much on that one, but generally I'll hold. And I like it this way because it has a loose curl. And this is all the final look because I did not take a video in horizontal way. So I just had to insert some little clips so you guys can see how it looked once I finished. But I kept this sewing in for about 2 months and definitely going to reuse this hair. I'm a sew-in girly these days. Like, I was a wig girly, but honey, sometimes I get tired of wigs. I get tired of taking stuff off. I just want the stuff to be there. But I hope you guys enjoy it. Bye.